of Barnstable Church, thank you very much for this invitation today. The theme and title of this sermon is A Story. Stories are one of those things that everyone has, as was mentioned earlier today. And the panels from the Dragon Line project that you might have seen upon entering the sanctuary contain short, superficial stories of lives that were cut short, stories that came to an end far too soon. But at some point, all of our stories are going to come to an end. But meanwhile, within these stories, there are moments of joy and sorrow. There are moments of pain and healing, of love and rejection. And sometimes we come across ghost stories. As I thought about this, I was reminded of an imagined dialogue I read from a book by Kent Nairburn entitled Wolf at Twilight, an Indian elder's journey through a land of ghosts and shadows, which the author described as a novelized nonfiction. These are excerpts from chapter 12. It was clear the native elder was mulling something over. Nairburn, he asked, how is it that you guys get all worked up about stuff that insults black folks, but don't give a damn about all those Washington Redskins crap and all the other stuff that insults us? I don't know, I replied. Maybe because there's so few Indians and so many blacks? Nah, said the elder. I'll tell you what it is. It's because when white people think of Indians, they think of guys wearing feathers and war paint and riding around on horseback. They can't connect guys like us with guys like that. We don't look the way we used to. We don't dress like we used to. We don't talk like we used to. So white folks don't see any connection. With black people, you see the connection every time you look in their faces. You see the shadow of slavery every time you see a black face. But we Indians, we are mixed up pretty good. Because the white man stole our children, they cut their hair, made them learn English, wear white men's clothes, and worship the white man's God. They did everything they could to break that connection. What matters is that you've got a way to lie to yourselves about what you did to us, while you don't have a way to lie to yourselves about what you did to black people. When many of you look at black people, you see the ghosts of all those slaveries and rapes and hangings and chains. And when you look at Jews, you see the ghosts of all those bodies piled up in death camps. And those ghosts keep some of you trying to do the right thing. But when you look at us, you don't see the old folks dying by the side of the trail on the way to Oklahoma while their families cried and tried to make them comfortable, or the dead mothers at Wounded Knee, or the little kids at Sand Creek who were shot for target practice. In fact, you don't see any ghosts at all. Instead, you see casinos and drunks and junk cars and shacks. Well, we see those ghosts, and they make our hearts sad, and they hurt our little children. And when we try to say something, you tell us, get over it. This is America. Look at the America dream. But as long as you call us Redskins and are doing that tomahawk chops, we can't look at the American dream because those things remind us that we're not real human beings to you. And when people aren't human, you can turn them into slaves or kill 6 million of them or shoot them down with Hotchkiss guns and throw them into mass graves at Wounded Knee. No, we're not looking at the American dream, Nairburn. And why should we? We still haven't woken up from the American nightmare. So let's take a couple of quiet minutes to think, to hold this in our hearts and check in with ourselves. If you're so inclined, you might think about closing your eyes, taking a deep breath. How are you feeling? Did hearing this narrative or seeing the panels cause you to freeze up, close down, or stop listening? What are you feeling? Whatever it is, it's okay. It's okay, especially if you're able to keep yourself from sinking too deeply into the pain and the sheer horror of it all. It's okay if you cannot get stuck in the loop of excessive blame, shame, or guilt. Because if we don't glue ourselves to the trauma so tightly that we can't move, it is possible to use those feelings as a catalyst to learn and to grow and to not be deaf or blind to our own responsibilities. As we live each moment, for good or bad, our narratives influence the stories of those around us. We can choose. We can choose what kind of stories are told and are written, and whether or not those stories build the world we dream of, the world where everyone is perfectly safe, is guaranteed respect and dignity, a story where everyone is able to live in joy and up to their full potential. One aspect of my personal story is deep enjoyment when camping at Mount Monadnock, and the following is a poem entitled A Story that I wrote while there. A story. Who are we? Beyond our titles or what we do for a living, beyond the kinship of parents, beyond all the names of our various identities, genders, religions, social status, beyond our politics or disabilities, that everybody has one way or another, beyond the oppression of race, beyond our talents, accolades, successes, or failures, who are we? Who are human beings? Some say spiritual beings having a human experience. Here and now we are living flesh, blood, and bone, no better or worse than other animals on this planet, or the plants. From the mighty oak to the lowly dandelion. But all life is finite. We are here for a short time, then dust. Really no better or worse than a rock. Then who are we? We are a story. Stories are told by woodlands and meadows, mountains, bogs, and beaches. Stories are told of the climbers who come and go, chattering like the rain, and the comings and goings of the glaciers, the hunted and the hunters. Stories are told by the maple tree, sleeping its winter nap. Stories are told by the wind, who whispers trees' unpronounceable names. These stories teach how to be beautiful and bend around objects, how to grow from rotten stumps or rocks. They teach of a time to rest and a time to grow, the cycle of life. Stories are told by water, the stream's songs moving over the pebbles, part of God's laughter. The water falls, then rises in mist. Water stories in stillness, they reflect the sky. Up close, each drop, a reflection of a reflection of a reflection, all part of this whole, containing everything. the flower and the stone, all a fractal of oneness. Stories are told by rocks, stories that intertwine with each other. Stone walls and jetties solidly demonstrate what is. From life to life, from atom to atom, bound by electromagnetic and nuclear forces, a strong attraction, a love story. It's all love, soul love, a story of truth, real and immutable, surrounding each and every cell, animate or inanimate, like a mountain sparkling with mica. Stories of fellow travelers, companions, some for a short time and some for longer. The chipmunk and squirrel, the woodpecker or owl, even the gnat, the tick or biting fly, they all have worth. Stories connect, connection to connection, moment to moment, the story advances. One step follows the next, a story, an adventure, a path of mystery. The story also teaches to pay attention to what is around in case the trip is over an unseen route or the shoe gets stuck in deep muckiness. Challenges develop muscle, or lessons give us strength and courage, a story of healing, of growth, and of deep gratitude. The story moves ever onward, beyond the pitfalls and the lies, beyond the fair weather friends, beyond the disappointments and painful revelations, beyond personality, betrayal, and treachery, beyond trauma, fear, exploitation, and racism, beyond even the stories themselves, beyond the beyond, a bigger story. A story that is not unique to this telling, from the beginning through to the end, moving in a beautiful circle within and to that which is eternal. So what are we? Who are we? We are a story. One story about everything. Love. Beings of love. A love story of light and of peace. I wrote that poem with the concept of a universal love story that exists in oneness rather than duality. So how does this concept of a love story knit together with all those nightmares and those ghost stories?
I've sometimes wished I had a magic wand that I could wave and make everything better. Then I realize I do, in fact, have that magic wand. In fact, I have 10 of them, and so does each one of you.
Use them. This is a true story. As my mother lay dying, the last real thing she said to me was not about loving or being proud of me. That was not who she was. The last thing was, what are you doing? What are you doing standing around here? You've got work to do. Go get busy. So let's all go get busy. There are many things that each of us can do, but perhaps the most important is to listen, to learn, and to show up. Listen without preconceptions that you already know everything you need to know about something. And I recommend that you look at the websites that are shared on the Dragon Line for both the Tools for Racial Justice and the Journey of Healing websites are designed to, within a spiritual context, help those of us born with white privilege. Help us to listen and move from knowing to understanding when and how to act from our own responsibilities. Because being true allies does not happen as a result of our intention or our self-identification. It requires consistently walking the walk, continuing our education over a long period of time, and showing up. Actually, you folks here from the Unitarian Church of Barnstable already have places to do this by supporting and participating in your own racial justice standouts and all the LGBTQA justice issues that you are attentive to. So together, we can get busy co-creating the world we dream of, where everyone is perfectly safe and guaranteed the ability to live a life story full of joy. It's up to us to walk together to create that better world, a world of justice, peace, grace, and gratitude, a world of peace and love. It's up to us to live authentic, true, and worthwhile stories. So let's all go get busy. We've got work to do.